Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from and well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude, until I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And the title for this was going to be, The People of the World Are Languishing. And we get that word languish real quick into Google. And that word languish in the Oxford Dictionary, in the Google AI overview, it says, of a person or other living thing lose or lack vitality, to grow weak or feeble. And then the second definition, it says, suffer from being forced to remain in a pleasant place or situation. And majority of the world have woken up to the fact that this system of going to work, going home, and repeating, pretty much running the rat race, people are starting to wake up to the fact that this isn't it. This isn't really living. That the so-called American dream was all a lie. That ultimately Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, duped everybody into believing in the system, trusting in the American dream that you could work and get rich and establish yourself, either establish your own business and eventually becoming a millionaire and then a billionaire. But now it's getting to the point where people aren't even being able to afford to pay their rent, to pay their mortgage, to pay their car note, or to even buy groceries. So people are starting to either choose between paying for their rent or buying groceries. And a lot of people are starting to lose their jobs to AI. They're starting to lose their jobs due to the economy declining, because the U.S. dollar, its purchasing power is declining. That's why inflation is at an all-time high. Now you need more dollars just to buy the same amount of what you used to get 10, 20, 30 years ago. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand too, is how inflation works. It's not that the price of something is increasing because it's becoming more valuable. No, ultimately is that the purchasing power of the dollar is decreasing. Ultimately because Esau Edom, the white man, he's crashing this system. He's collapsing this economy so he could bring in that new NWO system, that MOTB system that's going to be ran by AI, that's going to be ran by that micro C-hip, that's going to be ran by that digital currency, that stable coin that Donald Trump just passed a law on. And when it gets to the point where people feel like they have nowhere to go, when that squeeze is so tight on them, they're going to be begging for that solution. They're going to be begging for a solution, for a savior. And that's when Esau Edom is going to come down with that solution, which is going to be the MOTB. When he crashes the system, when he crashes the dollar, and all these people's bank accounts get wiped out, they're going to be crying out. And then here comes the devil, the deceiver, the white man with the solution. And majority of people are going to take it just to get that sensation of being in society and participating in this rat race and this 9-to-5 system. But it's going to be so bad that Esau Edom, he's not going to have people really work jobs anymore. He's going to offer them a universal basic income. He's going to ration them out food. He's going to have them live in these 15-minute cities, because ultimately he wants control of the souls of men, and that's what he's trying to achieve. But we know that when he's about to fill his belly, that's when Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to crash the system. But the reason why these people are in that state of losing hope in this system is because they placed all their eggs in this one basket in this crashing, burning house. But the elect, they haven't placed their eggs in this one basket in this American Babylonian system, because we know that it's collapsing. But the rest of these people, this is their only hope. And now that they see that it's crashing, they're completely bugging out, because this is really all the hope that they had was Babylon the Great. This is Isaiah 24 and verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. And eventually this earth, this current age that's being ran by the devil, is going to pass away. The world is going to be so-called destroyed, but really not the entire earth, because the earth abided forever. But here in America, here in Babylon the Great, this place will be utterly destroyed. That great harlot that have made the world drunken with its philosophies, this world, which we know as America, which, not the entire world, but you are going to have missiles being shot over here to the souls of America to utterly destroy this place. But first, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to tear it piece by piece, just like he did back in ancient Egypt. He was sending plague after plague after plague. That's what the Lord is doing now. He's sending all these different plagues by burning all these different food processing plants, destroying all the crops, all these different natural disasters, from floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, all these different pestilences rising up. That's ultimately Yahweh Bashim Yahushua putting an end to this current age, to this current aeon being ran by the white man, which that's ultimately why all these people are mourning. Not just the average Edomite that had hope in Donald Trump to make America great again, but also 2/3 of our people are in that spirit of mourning, because they know that this place is done, but yet they're still hoping that somehow America could be revived. But we know that that's not going to happen. Babylon is not going to be healed. It's not going to be made great again. Jump down to verse 7, Isaiah 24 and verse 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. So all these new ways and things that people used to do to entertain themselves, to detach from reality, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is taking the spirit, he's taking the mirth out of all these different things. From going to these nightclubs and these bars, people going to these sport arenas, these NBA games, NFL games, the different media, from movies and music. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is taking all the spirit, all the mirth out of all these things, because he's getting ready to end this thing. He's getting ready to bring Esau, Edom, the white man, down. But first, he's going to take all these different things that people used to enjoy and do. He's taking the spirit, he's taking the mirth out of all these different things. That's why all these different sports ratings are down, from the NBA to the NFL to boxing to UFC to baseball. All these different movies, they Esau Edom doesn't have any new ideas. He's just bringing out remakes and bringing out the same movie again, but just using a different actor. That's Yahweh Bashim Yahushua taking the spirit out of all these things that people used to enjoy, so people can really wake up to the different reality that they're in. Because a lot of people, they were in their own bubble. They were in their own la la land, completely detached from the world. But now Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is waking these people up, the reality, to really see how messed up the world is, to really see how the economy is collapsing, and people aren't happy to that. They're completely mourning because they know that the system is done. Verse 8, the mirth of the tabret ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joys of the harp ceaseth. So all these different music artists, these different rappers, pop artists, celebrities, their music is trash. It's not what it used to be. So people are starting to complain like, damn, all this music is trash. These movies are trash. All this mirth that America and wherever that mirth was enjoyed at in the world, throughout the world, is being taken away. Verse 9, they shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. So all these people looking to escape their sorrows through strong drink, through alcohol, through these different drugs. Yeah, how about Shemiah Shai is not letting them do that? Now he's letting them really wake up to the fact that this place is done, that Esau Edom's about to crash his system. Verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. And what's that city of confusion? The city of which confusion means Babel, is right here in Babylon the Great, America. How about Shemiah Shai is starting to shut this place down? He's closing all these different businesses down, all these different restaurants, venues. They're starting to go bankrupt. People don't have money to go out like they used to, so people are mourning. Verse 11, there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And that's what people are doing. People are crying out for answers. They're looking for solutions on why the world is the way it is. Why is everything happening? But people aren't getting answers. And those who do find answers are ultimately going to be the elect, because they're going to find the truth, which is represents wine, like it says Revelation, heard not the wine. That's ultimately this truth. But the rest of these people that are in darkness, they're not going to find the wine. They're not going to find the truth, especially 2/3 of our people. Yeah, you have heathens or Edomites, white people that may stumble upon the truth, but even if they know about the truth and they're not an Israelite, it don't even matter if they know, because ultimately only the nation of Israel, the elect, are going to be delivered. The rest of these heathens and these truthers and these Christian Edomites, they don't matter. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. That's what's happening. The grinders, all these different jobs, these different gig jobs, they're all being taken away. They're being taken by AI. All these jobs are downsizing, firing thousands, tens of thousands of people, because people aren't just spending money, because people don't have it. People are barely able to afford rent, being barely able to afford groceries. So they don't have that money, that leftover money that they used to have 10, 20, 30 years ago to go out to the malls and these different restaurants and movies and eat out. Now going to a fast food restaurant is running you about $15, $20, $30 just for a cheap ass, low quality fast food burger. So people aren't starting to go out like they used to. They're starting to stay in, to scrape whatever money they can to pay their rent or groceries. So people don't have that same optimistic outlook for America, Babylon the Great, and wherever people may be around the world, because they know that this place is through. They can see it, they can feel it, but yet they still have that slight hope that somehow it's going to bounce back. That it's going to be like 2008, and it's going to bounce back, and America's going to be made great again, and this third world war that is not going to happen is just another Middle Eastern war that's going to go away. But these people don't know prophecies, so they don't know that this is it. is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 14. The Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai had mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man stagger in his vomit. So ultimately, is Yahweh Bashmiel Shai to put that spirit of degeneracy, that spirit of just doing iniquity, especially for 2/3 of our people, to just completely go to hell off, because he doesn't want them to get it. He wants them destroyed. Ultimately, only the elect are going to come back to Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. The rest of our people, the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is going to let them stay in that perverse spirit, in that spirit of iniquity, till they get destroyed, in that spirit of wanting Babylon to be healed and to be made great again. But we know that that's not going to happen, that this place isn't going to be healed. So that's why people are waxing worse. The hearts of many are waxing worse. People are becoming more reckless and selfish. People are on the roads driving crazy, running running people off the road, leading them to crash, and people again in all these different wrecks, and people doing drive-bys and YNs running loose, Keisha. That's ultimately Yahweh Bashmiel Shai putting that perverse spirit here in America. So Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is justified to destroy it. Verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And that's what's happening. People aren't getting hired anymore. People, all these different people being laid off and not being able to find jobs. That's ultimately Yahweh Bashmiel Shai taking the spirit, taking the mirth out of this place. Because before it gets destroyed, all these old system being ran by the US dollar, physical cash, that's all going to be done away with. And that new system is going to be ran by the MOTB. That's what's going to be offered up for these people to so-called, come back into society and participate in. Majority of our people, the 2/3 in these heathens, they're going to be willing to take that MOTB, the so-called participating in society, and get universal basic income and get ration food made out of crickets. That's what these people are going to be willing to do to get a sense of somehow a normal society, which we know that this society has never been normal. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So that's why the whole world mourning, and even us, there are in the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We know why the world is so jacked up, because it's being ran by Esau, Edom, the white man, the devil. And the way that he's running the world is completely contrary to the scriptures. That's why everything's out of whack, everything's out of order, everything's polluted, from the water, the air, the food. The mindset of these people is messed up. So that's why the whole world is mourning. But ultimately, when the nation of Israel gets established here up on the earth, when they establish the kingdom of heaven, we know that the whole world is going to rejoice, because the righteous are going to be in authority. And the righteous are not in authority right now. It's the wicked, which are the so-called white people, which are the descendants of Esau, which are the Edomites. But we know that this isn't the end-all, be-all. That's why these people are mourning, the 2/3 of Jake and these heathens, because really, this is as good as it gets for these white people, for these Edomites. A lot of them are business owners, millionaires, billionaires, and even these wicked elite. This is as good as it gets for them. This is their peak. Once they get this NWO system up and running, and Yahweh Bashmiel Shai collapses this devil's kingdom and brings them down, that's it. It's only downhill for Esau, Edom, and the rest of these heathens. But Esau, Edom, the white man, yeah, he's going to get put in chains. He's going to serve 1,000 long year hardcore slavery. But After he gets done serving that 1,000 long year hardcore slavery, that's it for his ass. He's going to be put in that fire. He's going to have to be deleted. He's going to be extinguished off of the planet Earth. But the rest of these heathens, they'll get to enjoy the benefits of the nation of Israel running the earth in the kingdom of heaven. And the whole world's going to benefit off Jake ruling upon the planet Earth. Unlike the Edomites, only the wicked elite, the 1%, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers are benefiting. Because here you got all these white people suffering, all these homeless white people. You got Jake doing better in the enemy's kingdom than his own nation. So that lets you know how this devil runs things. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all man, and the living will lay it to his heart. So it's better to go to the house of mourning, and that's what the elect, the hopeful elect, that's the spirit that they're in. They're not in the spirit of feasting and mirth all the damn time like these people are doing. Because really the reason why they're in that spirit all the time is to try to get away from the reality of things. But they're only going to be able to do that for so long. Till Yahweh Bashim Shai really takes all these different comforts that these people are used to get away from reality. That's why ultimately the elect are in that spirit of mourning, because we know what times we're in. We know that we're in very evil and serious times. And like 2/3 of Jake and the rest of these heathens, this is all they know. They think this is as good as it gets, but we know that this isn't the end all be all. Verse 3, sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. Yeah, so we're not out here just laughing all the damn time, thinking everything's a damn joke like the rest of these people are doing. They laugh at everything. They think that everything's funny, that everything going around the world is just a joke. But they're going to find out very soon that what the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Shai have been saying is going to come to pass. That great destruction, Jacob's trouble, martial law, the hour of temptation, the mass implementation of the MOTB, and eventually those missiles. And then they're not going to be laughing then. A lot of Jake's going to want to repent, but it's going to be too late. Verse 4, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. The majority of these 2/3 Jakes and these heathens, they're fools. They're in the house of mirth instead of getting ready for what's about to take place. Jacob's trouble, Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1, a time like no other. But ultimately that's what Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to do to judge the wicked of our people, the 2/3 and the rest of these heathens, for playing all the damn time, laughing and cracking jokes, thinking that everything's funny till it ain't. This is Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. And that's what we're looking forward to. That city to come, which is the kingdom of heaven being established up on the planet Earth. Yeah, we're troubled because ultimately we have to endure dealing with these wicked ass people, having to deal with all these demons on a daily basis, Satan fucking with your head, with your mind, people coming against you, people calling you bums and all these different names that people like to call. But ultimately that's them, trying to really hide the fact that, what we're saying is true. Yeah, a lot of them, they really do believe it, but they think that if, they deny it and talk shit to the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Shai, that it's somehow not going to come to pass. But we know that everything that these people are doing, going to work, going to these jobs, that it's all vain. We do it too, but ultimately it's to allow us to get our daily bread and get the work in, because ultimately we know that we have something better coming, which is the kingdom of heaven. And that's why these people are mourning, because they think this is the end all be all. So they want it to somehow come back and get to its original glory, especially these Edomites. They want white supremacy. They want America to go back post World War II, when America was at its peak. But we know that that's not going to happen. We know that America is on its decline, and it's only gonna get worse for Babylon the Great. But that's pretty much the point. I pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from the well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude, until I said Shalom.